I am back, and I'm not talking about climate change anymore using Pokemon Platinum. Now I'm going to talk about speciation, mainly allotropic speciation and Did I say allopatric? Well, I have no idea why I said that. I meant allopatric speciation and sympatric speciation. And to do this, I'm going to need a very special species of Pokemon, and I'm just surfing around. I'm surfing around right around here. I think it's called the Valley Windworks. And we just got an encounter. Tentacool. Dang. Okay, so surfing around, running away. Okay. And I feel it. I'm going to get one any second now. And boom. Not quite. Here we go. All right. Perfect. Gonna get it. It's another Tentacool. Okay. This might take a while. Okay. Run. All right. Fourth time's the charm, right? And come on. Big money. Here we go. Not asking for much. It's another Tentacool. Okay. Wow. Alright. I'm not going to cut this recording until we get it. So while I do that, how about I just talk about biology jargon? So what we're doing right now is allopatric versus sympatric speciation. And speciation is how two different species form. Here we go. Gastrodon. That's a pretty neat Pokemon, right? It's like a sea slug. Well, you can take a good look at it. It's pink. It looks rather large. You can see its horns. It's a bit brown on the top. So, yeah, that's a Gastrodon. But wait. What about this? There's my Gastrodon. And, well, you can see that it's green instead of brown. Isn't that a bit weird? Well, it gets even weirder. Because I don't have any special Gastrodon or anything. Here. Mine just happens to be blue instead of pink. And that is because of something very interesting. And it relates back to allopatric speciation, which is speciation due to geography differences. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to fly off. So right here, this is Mount Coronet, and this is very important. It's a giant mountain, and I'll explain why it's important in a bit. But notice how we're on the west side, but what happens when we go east of it? We'll say to Pastoria City. And I should mention that Gastrodon is the evolution of Shellos, which follows a similar trend, and we're going to see that in a bit. We're just running, and we're running, and here we are, Route 212. And so now I'm going to get into the grass, and I found tons of these before, so it shouldn't be too long until we find one. Here we go. Shellos. Well, would you look at that? It's blue. The Shellos and Gastrodons are blue on this side of the mountain. And that is an example of allopatric speciation. It's not technically speciation due to them being the same species. But yeah, here's my Shellos. It's going to use Rain Dance and it's going to fail. But yeah, allopatric speciation, it's separated by geography. And that's where the Mount Coronet comes into play. Because Mount Coronet, it's this giant mountain. And if you know anything about birding, you know that a lot of species have trouble crossing mountains. So these giant mountain ranges, they act as natural barriers that species can't cross very easily. I'm not going to waste your time taking out the Shello, so I'm just going to run away. And I can't run away. Okay, well, I'll just keep talking. You can watch this enthralling battle play out as I switch to my Gastrodon and then run away. So, as I was saying, allopatric differences in geography, and that's explained by the mountain range. These slow little slugs, they can't move very well, and so they can't move between mountain ranges very easily. So what we know is that somehow the species got separated. Perhaps they were originally on both sides, and then the mountain range sprung up and they weren't able to breed anymore. So all the pink ones stayed pink and all the blue ones became blue, and they couldn't really hybridize anymore because they were separated. They literally couldn't be together. Another possibility is that the mountain range is a lot older than the Shellos were, and that somehow one population or one fertile species ended up on the other side of the mountain range, and one way or another they developed that color. That's also a possibility. The only thing we know for certain is that these two are separated geographically. No matter how you want to go for, how you want to look, if you are on the west side, you are going to find a pink Shellos and pink Gastrodon. If you are on the east side, you are going to find these blue Shellos and blue Gastrodons. And I'll give you a better look at the Shellos and Gastrodons. Here we go. There's the blue one, and there's the pink one. And you can notice they are obviously very different. Not quite as much with the Gastrodon, but you can definitely see the differences aside from just color. It's very obvious that they're similar because look, same sea sluggy shape, but the color differences. That's the big one. You can notice the little crests, some of the shell is a bit different. I say shell, they don't really have a shell. But that's how allopatric speciation works. Separation by geography. These two can't breed at all, even though there's a female and a male. They won't be able to breed because they literally can't get there. It's a pre-zygotic barrier, which means it's preventing a zygote from ever being formed with this hybrid. And so that's how allopatric speciation works. It's a pretty good example in the games, and it's really interesting. A real-life example would be birds, as I already mentioned. There's eastern bluebirds and western bluebirds, and instead of being separated by a Mount Coronet, which is a fictional mountain, they're actually separated by the Rocky Mountain ranges, which you can't cross. They can't cross. The mountains are just too high and they can't fly over them. So somehow, those two populations were separated and they began to evolve differently. They're technically different species just because they've been separated for a lot longer than these Shellos or Gastrodons have. But you can see how the bluebirds would be similar, but they're a bit different. Just in coloring, just because they haven't been able to breed with each other and make one uniformed population. Now, the other type of speciation that I'm going to talk about is sympatric speciation. And instead of using these little slugs, I'm going to use these, butterflies and moths. So stay tuned.